Books about Biden's brain fog are flying off the shelves. Now everyone's kicking him while he's down.
I voted for Biden. I really like Biden. I actually have been happy with him. And I would have voted for him if he continued to run. But I did look at him and think, I think maybe you do need to step aside. And now the rumors that we're hearing starting to make sense. And what happened is everyone said, you're disloyal if you say that. Shut up and fall in line. And that's why people want to be independents these days. Because partisan politics, they lie. It was the Democratic Party that made that choice that said, you're betraying him if you call it like you see it. And the point here is he wasn't necessarily fit to run for another 4 years.
So you knew Biden was out of order and you didn't report it because Democrats would get mad. The only one still in denial, Spartacus.
What about people that look at the Democratic Party right now and said, you know this man was debilitating, and you have the Republicans leaning on the fact that you hid that from the American people?
Well, I don't even know why that's an issue. I talked, by the way, Joe Biden called me today. He sounded very compos mentis, got very argumentative, not argumentative with me, but very fired up when he was talking to me. I don't know, man.
Right.
I never saw it. And this man would literally call me up to discuss policy. I've met no president like him.
Give it up, Spartacus. You've got coup amnesia. Tongues are wagging. Now we know about the secret meeting Pelosi had with Biden before he dropped out.
It was really a clandestine get-together. She wanted to make sure that she wasn't seen meeting with Biden. So they had the meeting in the residence and not in the Oval Office. It was extraordinary because she went and she had a one-on-one in person, just the two of them. In the meeting, Biden didn't give in. He didn't say, okay, I'm getting out. But she knew she'd gotten through to him. And she told friends thereafter that I knew I'd gotten through to him. He trusts me.
How many weeks passed between that meeting and when he ultimately pulled out of the race?
It's 10 days later.
There's no such thing as a bloodless coup. Careers, friendships, campaigns died. Biden will never talk to Pelosi again. And we're finding out Clooney and MSNBC went to war after Mika called him Obama's puppet.
This wasn't George Clooney.
What do you mean?
It just wasn't. Come on.
Who do you think it was? Matt Damon?
It was not Matt Damon.
Who do you think it was?
It wasn't Julia Roberts either.
Who do you think it was? You can say the name. You won't melt. It's not Voldemort. Are you saying you think Barack Obama put him up to this?
I think that Barack Obama has a lot of influence, and I think that there's a lot there.
Clooney saw that and called Mika's producer. How the F could you let her link me with Barack Obama, saying he made me write the op-ed? You F'd me. You're my friend. You should have stood up for me. The producer shot back. George, this is not an effing movie. There's no script. It's just not a movie where you go script page to script page. Clooney said, F you, the producer responded. F yourself. This is a morning talk show on cable channel. Nobody gives an F if we should just get out or stay in. Nobody effing cares. It's skywriting. Kamala was watching her party get carpet bombed and thought it was a good time to come out of the bunker. Don't you wish you elected me instead of Trump?
There were many things that we knew would happen. Many things. I'm not here, so I told you so.
Piers Morgan said on The Five that Kamala was drunk. Do you think she's drunk? Or is she just ditzy? But Kamala isn't safe from the leaks either. We're finding out exactly what her campaign thought of her after she did this.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Her team realized right there. And then that Kamala gave Trump the campaign kill shot. What the hell was that? That's not what we practiced. Saying Biden had a flawless 4 years and you wouldn't change a thing, that's bad. But picking tampon for VP is worse.
Governor Tim Walz called Harris, you guys report, and he pitched himself to be her number 2. He says, quote, "I'm the one who can do this," he told her. Was Walz always going to be her pick even from day one, do you think?
The big thing that I think the folks around her worried about was that she might pick somebody who could overshadow her, and they were not worried about that with Tim Walz in particular.
The only man Kamala really cares about is Barack Obama. She's been seeking his approval her whole career. The closest she got was when Barry called her the best-looking attorney general in the country. Michelle wasn't happy about that one. But when it came time to endorse Kamala, Obama waited because he thought she'd lose. And Kamala was furious. Harris felt hurt that he thought so little of her. That pain turned to anger. Obama eventually caved and gave her his stamp. Kamala pushed down her rage and smiled. She needed Obama, but his endorsement wasn't enough. Amie Parnes is the co-author of Fight: Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House. The relationship between Kamala Harris and Barack Obama is fascinating. For many years, she sought his approval, didn't she?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have reporting in our book Fight about how when he won the election, she showed up on the night of the election and wanted to get into the friends and family tent. And
was she friends and family?
No. And so someone that we spoke to said that she had to be turned away, and she was a little bit hurt by it. At the Naval Observatory, she wants to invite Obama aides, former Obama aides. She's always looking to have Obama folks at her house. And her aides told us that it was a thing for her. She really wanted to include them in everything.
Was it an obsession? Because when Barack said that she was the best-looking attorney general, Michelle must have been like, excuse me?
It was a thing. I mean, I covered Barack Obama, and I remember it caused a little bit of a controversy at the time, Jesse. But yeah, she sought his approval, and that's what we get at in this book. She was really hurt, and 2 sources told us that it needed to be mended, that there was a little bit of friction that week because she really wanted him to get behind her right away, and he wasn't doing that. He was kind of calling around. He called Jim Clyburn that week. He asked what he was doing. Clyburn said, "No, I'm getting behind her." So it was a minute-long phone call. They hung up. But he was calling around and trying to find out what, take the temperature of folks.
How are they now? How are Harris and Barack now? And how are Barack and Biden now?
Barack Obama.
You're laughing.
There is still some friction there. They have also tried to mend their relationship.
Because they were best friends. They had the bracelets and everything.
There's always been a little bit of friction there, dating back to the post-presidency when he got behind Hillary Clinton. You'll recall in 2016. In 2020, he didn't think that he could win and said as much to his aides. He always wanted to know if there was a plan in place for how to win.
What about Michelle? What about Kamala and Joe now? Is she mad at him for not dropping out earlier? Because that's always what we hear. Oh, he should have gotten out earlier, blah, blah, blah.
Her aides told us if she was in the race a little longer, she thinks she could have won.
Come on. Does she really think she could have won?
That is what they say.
And did she think on election night, was she shocked she got swept in every battleground?
She was beyond shocked, and so was Tim Walz. As we report in the book, we show aides coming in to tell them, and Tim Walz is dumbfounded, has no words.
Isn't he always dumbfounded?
His wife has to say something. Kamala Harris also, should we do a recount? Are we sure? We report all of this for the first time. They went into that night thinking that they were going to win.
Was it polling that got them confused? How did they think they would have needed a recount? I don't think I've ever even heard anybody say that before.
I think she went out to these crowds and saw these big crowds. Of course, Biden wasn't drawing the big crowds, and suddenly people started turning out for her. And she felt like the vibe was different.
The vibe.
And polling showed a very tight race, and they thought that they were within arm's reach of getting there. David Plouffe went on TV the night before and said, "We're going to sweep all the swing states." So
I've made predictions like that before.
Yeah.
You can't. I've learned that you can't really do that on TV. Now, as we stand here in April, how is the Democratic Party?
Lost. And that's an understatement. I mean, I field calls every day from people thinking, how are we going to do this? And a lot of strategists say, we need to rebuild, we need to burn the house down. But it has to be more than that, I think. There has to be an acceptance of the Democratic Party and what went wrong, and an acceptance of President Biden and what went wrong there, and how they kind of gaslit a lot of people, including Democrats, and led them to believe that he could run again.
And some people are saying that all of these books are coming out, and and I like this book. I'm definitely going to devour it. These books are coming out a little late, and that there was all this reporting about Joe's incapacity, and the reporters didn't really say anything. And all of a sudden, when it's time to make money and the election's over, ka-ching.
You know what happens is when a president is in the White House, his aides don't want to really cross him. They don't want to talk. But when he leaves the White House, and they start chatting.
Yeah.
The floodgates open and they start talking to you. And that's how we were able to produce some of that reporting. And we weren't sitting on it either. We started reporting that book post-election. So for anyone who thinks we were sitting on that reporting, it's not true.
All right. Well, I can't wait to read it. Fight inside the wildest battle for the White House. And it really was the wildest. Thank you so much, Amie.
Thank you.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.